What's up, creative community? Welcome back to the Coach MC studio. Welcome back, actors, performers, entertainers, entrepreneurs, creative people, because the studio over here, as you might know it by now, if you know us, then you know. Our creative content is not only for performers and actors. It's actually catering to everybody who needs to communicate his ideas in an extraordinary way, because nowadays we are surrounded by cameras. We are surrounded by screens. We are surrounded also by careful listeners. We're in this digital age where information flows very quickly. We are in the connected economy. So therefore, awareness, recognition, and of course, acknowledgement for our talents is basically the most important part of our business, whatever our business is. So we help you over here to shape unique behavior deliveries that are really extraordinary, to really go into the room, whatever that room looks like, and to deliver something that is remarkable, intriguing, and compelling about you, what's most recognizable about you. Because nowadays, it's us, it's you, it's the camera, and nothing else that really matters, that really counts. And therefore, we're going to take a look at Hollywood today in our episode of Ready to Perform. It's, a lot of important stuff that is coming up there. Probably a strike is on the horizon again happening. This time, it's the Iatse, it's the crew, it's everybody who's, outside of the performing field that is complaining about the current working situation. And May, it looks like it's going to hit us again. And therefore, there's going to be a very tough and very dark and also sinister blow to Hollywood that is, coming slightly back again from a very, dry period of 3 years where the ratings for the Oscars were abysmal. Now we're kind of, climbing up the ladder again, but definitely the state of the union doesn't look that positive. We have to talk about the Oscars as well, because everything, kind of comes together, and what type of impact, what kind of ripple effect that's going to have for show business, for entertainment business worldwide, for the performing, for the performing area. So therefore, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're somebody who's out the entertainment area, whether you're just starting with your acting craft, this video might be very interesting for you. If you're here for the first time, smash the subscribe button, of course, because it goes such a long way to support our endeavors. And of course, if you want, you can already hit the like button to kind of show the algorithm what you deserve the best. And now, without any further ado, let's jump right into it and let's see what's cooking. Today, I want to talk about a little bit of, how the environment is perceived right now, the acting environment, and how that affects, media, entertainment in general, and also, of course, the digital outlets that we use every day, right? Instagram, Facebook, all of our social media endeavors, TikTok, and they are all linked to these companies, to these Hollywood giants, to these media companies as well. And so therefore, what affects them affects also us in the production and the distribution, and then also in the revenue generating business that we are over here when we're talking about influencers, media influencers, acting influencers, all types of people that have a YouTube channel like us over here, right? So we're all affected by this because these companies, let's face it, they are also connected with Hollywood, they're connected with California, they're connected with all the type of businesses that produce the content, the context more than the content, in which then the actors and the directors and the directors of photography, the cinematographers can finally express their vision. So therefore, this is a community here. This is what we're talking about. We always say that it's a creative community, right? We are all in this together, and we have to face the consequences of our decision, of our consumption, and of our idea giving, right? Because they are making really they are priming the behavioral canvas, they are priming the ecological canvas, they are priming the financial canvas, they are priming the artistic canvas that then kind of creates the fabric of entertainment, of fashion, of design, of media outlets that we all kind of entertain and are connected with. Again, this is a connected economy. It's an economy of awareness, right? So the discussion that we probably had like 30 years ago, where internet wasn't omnipresent like it is today, and it's of course the dominating factor, and on the horizon we have AI. Well, it's not on the horizon, it's here, right? So we have to face it. AI is now part of this game as well. And so how that kind of changes and influences us, also in our decisions and how we perceive the market, it's massively. We can't just subdue that and say no, we're still old school. Yes, in the heart maybe we're old school, but we have to adapt to modern times. We have to adapt to modern technologies if you want to play this game. We have to kind of see through the system, and we are not all Christopher Nolan or Bill Murray, right, and other actors that can enjoy the privilege, the incredible luxury to possess no smartphones allegedly, to have no email address allegedly, and to have just a mailbox somewhere in a postal office in Arizona allegedly, right? If you can afford these incredible luxuries, then good for you. This is great. But the rest of the crowd, the rest of the bunch, the rest of the tribe needs to still kind of be connected, and it's an awareness and connection economy, right? We are all trying to influence people. We are all trying to let people be pulled in, like kind of attracting them into your world. We're all trying to have that charisma, right? To have that public competence that nowadays is so important in order to entertain multiple levels of income, to have multiple streams of revenue, to be connected to all the possibilities and never miss out on something, because every tiny detail can be of major importance later on. Like I said, it's the ripple effect, right? That kind of touches the whole universe, the whole ecosystem. And we're living in this echo chamber, so we can't really deny that. So therefore, let's take a look at what's coming up on the horizon in Hollywood, because it's a truly an important development. It's kind of breaking right now, because this is just trickling through recently. I think also because of the Oscars and the movies that came up, they didn't want to put in such a negative thought before the glam night, before the illustrious event, before the lights shining back to the stars. We don't want to talk about, and legitimately so, this is not a critique, and please, by any means, this is not a bashing video. I'm part of the Saturday Night Hypnosis panel, and I love to be part of that panel. And yes, wholeheartedly, at the end of the week, I give myself the liberty to express some harsh words sometimes, because this business to me is life, creativity, art, show business. This is what I transmit, what I teach, what I live, what I preach. Since I'm, a little kid, basically, I grew up with art and through art. And so therefore, this is not to bash, right? When I do this on the weekend, it's because I'm passionate, because I want to express. Also, sometimes I want to just, vent my frustration. I'm not a monk. Right, I'm part of the system as well, right? I'm an observer of my own insanity, if you want to call it so, but a reasonable one. But once in a while, we all need our fights, we need our contrasts, we need to blow off some steam. Otherwise, you can't bear it. Because to me, a lot of what happened in the last 30 years, 25 years, let's say 20 years, to be a bit more, concise and not too flooded out, because of course, quality can always be improved. But let's say in the last 20 years, the last 2 decades were horrible to art, to entertainment, to movies, to comic books, to music, to science, I might also add, in a way, and to all the things that actually define us as human beings, about our values, about some statues that should be immortal and endless, right? Now we're questioning everything. The status quo is turned upside down. And guys, over here at the Coach MC studio, we said this a long time ago. It's not something that we haven't predicted. Actually, we're not really surprised at all. Right? We said this in our videos, and make sure to check them out, the older videos, where we talk about the importance of these new technologies, where we talk about that there are certain movements, of the system that wants us. And I'm not going in any dark theory here. It's just the normality of the case. If you have 8 billion people on a planet living close to each other with all, the adequacies and inadequacies, of course, as a system, as a whole, right, you want to take care of these people. We want to give them function, regularities, law, in order to give them some sort of a structure, a hyperledger structure that makes them function. So therefore, this is no attack. We all understand that there are certain conventions that need to be taken care of in order to make something else function. But what we're addressing here as a YouTube community, as a creative community, as a performing community, and as the digital community, right? What we're addressing here is something more deeper than, the regulatories that are necessary. We're addressing something that goes beyond the usual functioning, right? There are some intrusions from, politics, governments, and companies into our private life that aren't healthy, that aren't necessary for what it's worth, because the system is set up. We aren't going nowhere. We're consuming your products and we're giving something back sometimes. This is how it works, right? And so therefore, this could work forever. So give us our space, our ability to express, our freedom of creativity, and also the rightful, legitimate and absolutely justified by the intention of the nature of the system, ability to speak out, right? To be free to speak out about what's working and what's not, in our opinion, since we are the one financing this, right? It's not that somebody pays us a favor and, we should shut up because we should be so, full of gratitude towards this, a righteous gesture. No, it's not like that. We're not paying for it. We're paying for it. So we are paying for it also in energy, because the money needs to be acquired somewhere, and therefore we need to invest our life energy, our blood, our passion, our electricity in order to buy a product. And if that product is flawed, we need to be able to express that and how it should be changed, regarding to what we deem all a fair compromise. It's not black or white. Of course, we understand the necessities of you need to observe certain measures and certain restrictions, certain laws and rules, for sure. That is out of the question. But when we're talking about creativity, especially, right, this goes also into the other branches that I mentioned beforehand. When we're talking about creativity, it is super important that in the center of all this, right, there needs to be openness, freedom, liberty. There is no judgment here. There is no agenda. There is no intrusion in the middle of the disc. Then, of course, the songs can spin in different directions, have a certain melody, have a different tune, have different influences. For sure, this is also the beauty, but the core needs to be genuine and needs to remain like that. If we all become just tourists of money in order to exploit a sector to kind of make our living and then go our ways, then of course that sector becomes more and more transactional, more and more institutionalized, and more technocratic instead of emotional, instead of spiritual also, and cultural. And therefore this is just an attempt to make the art better, to kind of improve. Of course, it comes just from the best of intentions. All the dictators say that, all the tyrants say that, but over here we demonstrate that. Every day we think about how we can give something back to the creative community. Our free master classes that we have, for example, next Saturday, right? When we have at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a beautiful meeting live on Zoom. You can register for free, where we give out our information, everything that I've assembled myself as an actor, my toolbox, right? My crafts, instruments, everything, my tools of success, like Tim Ferriss likes to call them, right? I bring them to our Saturday meetings, to our group therapy sessions. And we will talk about acting, audition tips, right? How you can stand out in the casting director's office, what you need to learn, if there's anything to improve, if there are new trends and hype. So all these things that we do for here just goes, to show that when openness, constructive criticism, and a community of conversation comes in, the product always improves. Will that reflect? Will that always be the best product of all time? Will it always top the one previously? And is it always an improvement that is incredible to watch and always great in its development? No, maybe sometimes it's small. Sometimes it's not a major contribution. Sometimes it's something bigger. But the fact of the matter is that if you add genuine work to the ecosystem, to the chamber, right, into your biosphere, into your culture, that culture thrives. And of course, if the network is stronger, we know that from blockchain technology, right? If the network is stronger, the creative value of the single nodes that are validating that network become more, they appreciate value. So they become more valuable by being part of a strong network. Not only because they themselves as individuals are great, but because the network itself is also great. So I'm not saying that this is an egalitarian approach, by no means, right? Everybody has the individual freedom to express and to kind of explore his own boundaries of artistry and creativity and talent. But if you think of being generous and sharing the stuff like we do over here at the Coach MC Studio, like sharing our knowledge, sharing our instruments, and also, kind of delegating people to come over to our channel, calling them up, calling other creators up, kind of organizing interviews, being part of panels, all that happens also for you guys. Of course, we have fun, but we wouldn't be here in the first place if there is no audience for this, right? So this is edutainment at its best, I feel. And of course, if you have any suggestions how to make this better, let us know in the comment section down below. For sure, we're open, right, for constructive criticism, for for every type of bash that you want to give us, but also for the stuff that works in your opinion and what you like to kind of, see double down on, and what you need to see more of from over here. So definitely this is a conversation, an open dialogue. This is how creativity should work, in my opinion. And this is why we're talking about these topics today. And we have something on the horizon coming up that is, it looks like another major blow to our business, to our creativity. It seems not to stop, right? We are in an endless cycle. We're past in an endless cycle of crisis since the C virus showed up, right, out of nowhere, right, allegedly. And so therefore, we have the situation where we are since the C virus showed up is constant emergency. Right? It feels like constant pressure, constant problems, constant alarm signals, right? There is no time to breathe, no time to recuperate, no time to kind of exhale, no time to kind of reasonably think. And I wonder, right, if this is not by some degree also installed artificially in order to take advantage out of the confusion. Because if you're the one spreading the confusion, you know what the reaction will be, and most likely you have the countermeasures already ready, installed and in place, right? Regulations, laws, or the other restrictions, or other regulations, in order to take the most out of it for yourself, because everybody else will be scared while you program your next move. And again, this is not some dark theory. We see this playing out. And what I'm trying to say here is, look at this. Could another strike hit Hollywood? Do we really need that right now? But it's fact of the matter is true. And one crew member union, the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, has warned us of a potential strike authorization vote if a deal is not reached by July 31. So we have the problem that whenever we're coming out a little bit of our nutshell, whenever we're coming out of our constrainment cage, whenever we feel like, okay, we can develop a new product and Oscars ratings are getting better, there's less maybe virtual signaling on the right, there's a bit better movies and a bit of a just a moment where you kind of recover. We had major hits going on. We had Oppenheimer, we had Barbie, we had Dune. So it kind of felt like, it's getting positive again. It's like, boom, there is the next alarm signal, there is the next strike, there is the next problem showing up on the horizon, there is the next moment of conflict. So what do we have here? The Rolling Stone tells us that there is definitely there is a potential strike coming up. So who are these guys? Iatse are the workers, right? These are the people that are these are the heroes. First of all, these people over here we're talking about. And I'm not romanticizing and glorifying anything. I'm not here over socializing anything. It's true. It's fact of the matter. If you grow up on a set like me, or like my wife, or like anybody else, right, in the show business, that is there for a long time, they know that the workers are the unsung heroes of every movie production, of every short movie production, of every commercial, because they make things appear out of the sky, right? They create the magic, they build the stuff, they get you ready, they put the makeup on, they do pretty much everything. They transport, they serve, they have logistics in place, they have the workers coming and going, they make magic. So without them, there is no movie making, right? Again, we're faced with this problem that the more money we seem to have, the more dominant production companies become, the more important these media outlets kind of are entrenched with society, with governments, with production companies all over the globe, and the networks. And the tighter they have that, the less money remains for the others. And this is the problem. there it becomes toxic. There it becomes unhealthy, because I feel there is enough money on the market. There is enough production, force. There is enough demand. There is enough availability and distribution. So again, I'm not coming from a socialist standpoint here, by no means, right? I feel like there should be like just a fair distribution, a fair distribution of wealth, of energy coming back, because these people over here that are striking, I mean, the teams that are building, they are pushing the over hours, like they are pushing extra hours. They are, it's incredible what they do on a daily basis on a movie set. That is truly incredible, and we can't even start to appreciate how much they do. Of course, some of them over time, they're just human beings as well, right? We have our good and bad days. They have good and bad agents and actors inside of these unions as well. But let me tell you, White's Metal and I, we have analyzed the last strike quite thoroughly, and we also examined the contract that was the redacted contract, but it was basically just the condensed summary contract, 18 pages that we looked in, and it was sold. We have it on White's channel, so you might want to check out White's Metal, his channel, and I think it's still on Film Rebels channel, the where we have the show where we talked about the contract, where we examined it a bit more thoroughly. Definitely an interesting episode to watch. He's also part of our panel on Saturday, and he's a great guy, so definitely subscribe to his channels, and also subscribe to this one, of course. But we talked about the contract that was somehow kind of celebrated, but in my opinion, there was nothing really to celebrate. Like, the deal didn't. It's not a great deal. Basically, it's not a deal about actors, anyways. Right? As an actor, reading this deal, the last SAG deal after the strike, we went on the picket lines as well, right? We've been there. We have a video on our channel. You might want to check out that one as well, because we talked to the people on the picket lines, like, what are you demonstrating for? What you're trying to achieve? Is it just about money? Is it about recognition? No, we have a new player in the room, like I said, and this is AI. And they've hidden this player till the very last moment. Again, networks have played a magic trick on us, a beautiful stun, and out of the blue, out of the cylinder, say, oh, we got a problem. There's this AI thing, and, it's not going away anymore. And, we pushed the button, and so it's going to stay forever. So, hey, should we get down? Because AI will take over your jobs, right? So let's sit at the table and talk about this, right? They knew this from 10, 15, 20 years ago. Don't tell me that the networks that are living in California, based in California, taking that technology out of Silicon Valley from the very same companies that are also creating these AI technologies for a long time now, they had no idea. Oh, we're shocked, we're surprised. That's like a NASA article. NASA articles are beautiful every time. And again, it's not bashing. It's just stating the obvious, right? This is just a testimony to what I'm always reading. When I'm reading a NASA article, 90% of the time, like science.com, whatever it is, like, NASA scientists are baffled. NASA scientists are surprised. NASA scientists say, we didn't expect that, right? It's always like, it's a very interesting scientific company that gets a lot of money during the year for not knowing anything or being always very surprised. Now, to the defense to the science community, I'm not bashing, right? I know exactly. I have some relatives that work also in aeronautics and aerospace, and so therefore I know how hard that is. And so to predict the unpredictable is really, really. I mean, we're just advocating and judging out of a very narrow bandwidth, right, in terms of what we can perceive and observe through our even most advanced measurements and electronics and instruments. So therefore, we're still on in child's shoes in terms of understanding the universe. So of course, there's a lot of unexpected stuff happening. I'm just saying, that they played the NASA card in a way. It's like, we have AI now. Ooh, this is very unexpected. I guess we now have to kind of talk about it, right? They invented it. They brought it to the game, and now they're forcing it on us, and the deal wasn't good. It was glorified. It was even celebrated. But to me, the deal is a deal for AI, not for human beings. I said this publicly on Wyatt's channel, and I will say this again over here at the Coach MC studio. It's not a deal for us. It's a deal for AI. It basically brought AI into the game. And now we have another competitor. And the same thing is happening here too. I mean, not, of course, in a AIs, robots are not, physically helping so far, but there's a lot of stuff that the other workers, the technical workers also do that now AI can do. And of course, jobs getting taken away. But let's read the article really quick to kind of get an idea a bit more thoroughly. So could another strike hit Hollywood, right? So there is this, of course, there's the bargaining session, there's offers being made about the new salary, and it seems like they're not too happy with it. Iatse is not really satisfied with the proposals so far. There are a lot of points on the table. I'm not going into the details too much because otherwise this video really takes too long. But of course, as you can imagine, there are so many diverse type of fields of occupation for Iatse, and not everybody right now, not every field of work, whether it's the technical, the more manual labor, more the intellectual labor, all the different labor forms that come together in order to produce a motion picture, which is really fascinating. And again, I'm not saying this now to kind of side or anything, right? I'm an actor, but I'm also a crew member. Like, I see myself as a crew member as well when I'm on set. A lot of actors have the attitude as not seeing themselves as crew members, just as actors. I don't understand where they're coming from, to be honest, because to me, the funniest part, the most beautiful, the most, satisfying part is being, of being on set. Of course, it's playing the role, but that is just a very short instant in terms of, time exposure that you have on set when you're actually playing the role. You just record a couple of minutes. But living on set and being on set, if you shoot a lot, if you're doing dailies or like a motion picture or a big feature or a TV series, right? When you do stuff like that, you're on set a lot. You get to know these people a lot, and they help you a lot. It's great to hear them talk. They have a certain culture. They have, exactly the audio department, right? They are nerds, right? They're just listening. They close their eyes. They are super specific and sophisticated about microphones. Most of them produce music. They have own instruments. They have their bands. Some of them are retired band members or, coming out of other industries where sound was required, and they kind of dropped out of, maybe other careers. And it's beautiful to talk with the audio department. They are truly nerds and beautiful people and have their own space in their own universe. It's also great to talk to the camera department, to the photography department, because they see visuals, they see moments, they see instants, right? They see these great pictures. They can understand the audio department. It's like the bass player and the drum player. It was like, what? I'm the rhythm section. No, I'm the rhythm section. I'm the rhythm section. No, I'm the rhythm section. You get the drift, right? So it's great to be on set, to get to know, to be connected to all these beautiful departments, because they all have their culture, and through them you can learn so much. I've learned through the departments from being on set and regarding like perceiving myself as a crew member. And there's a testimony to this. When we had our show that kind of gave me the breakthrough in Germany, when we had premiere night, we were screened, our screening was at a movie theater, big one in Munich, downtown, like many seats. I don't know. I think at least like a 800, 600 seater for sure. It's like a huge like theater. And the actors were sitting up high, balcony, boom, with the producers. And because of my role and my importance in the series and the unexpected kind of, success that I was having, because they really didn't, they hired me, they believed in me, but I wasn't on their major sheet of paper. They really didn't, regard me as one of the major players of this production, right? They said, oh yeah, he's going to fill up this role, great, for sure. But they didn't see me for all of my capabilities, I guess. And when, after a couple of months already of being on set, they kind of I was already in the talks for being the next protagonist, because they immediately recognized, okay, this guy has way more to offer than just filling up this co-star part. We're probably going to give him, in the next season, we're probably going to give him the protagonist role. So because he has larger shoes to fill. And so my producer wanted to have me right next to her, right? Her seat was empty, and I was supposed to sit there at the premiere night, which is a huge honor, even more so because I wasn't, quote unquote, the main, I was one of the protagonists, but actually one of the, the leads should have, sit there, shouldn't taken place there, and said she wanted me to be there. And I said, no, I went down to the crew and sit in the middle with my boys, with the guys, having a laugh, right, drinking beer and eating popcorn. And of course, that was stupid in a way, but also beautiful. She didn't take it very personal, or she laughed at me because I think she thought, yeah, that is super inappropriate what he's doing right now. He's really not understanding what I was trying to offer him here and the importance of that gesture, because I was new in the business. I came from theater, remind you. I didn't really know what like movie making and of course I had set experience, but in that term of being like a movie star or a TV star or like a fictional star, I really didn't know what the processes are politically also as well, what goes on behind the scenes and all that stuff. I had to figure that out along the way. So to me, that was just a naive, like a beautiful moment. It's like, no, I want to be with the crew. I'm so much surrounded by the actors and by the production company all the time. I want to be with the crew members. And she really didn't hate me for this. She understood that I was just stupid in that moment because I had no experience and never did that again, because that could have been seen like almost like brushing you off, like an insult, right? So you don't want to outshine the master. I think this is one of the first laws from the 48 Laws of Power from Robert Greene, a magnificent book. Never outshine the master, which is actually a Machiavelli principle. Coming back, this just incredible long story to tell you guys that how I cherish and I deem the crew to be important and to be like a fundamental, integral, spiritual side of the process. And if these guys have enough and they don't want to produce anymore, then we have a real problem, right? So last summer, as unionized writers and actors were on strike for a combined 6 months against Hollywood studios, crew members marched and chanted by their side. Of course, on Sunday, the chants continued as thousands of crew workers gathered for a Los Angeles rally ahead of Monday's bargaining talks with Hollywood studios and streamers, the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers. With one of Hollywood's longest actor strikes to date behind us, Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, the SAG-AFTRA, members, they earned pattern-breaking wage increases, AI protections, and bonuses for well-performing streaming projects. Costume designers, camera operators, and sound engineers and lighting technicians who are among the 170,000 members of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, Iatse, are looking to do the same. And despite standing in solidarity with Writers Guild of America and SAG-AFTRA members, they felt the brunt of the strike and pandemic-induced work stoppage. A dozen camera operators, stage managers, post-production editors, and production assistants spoke to Rolling Stone last August on how the double strike depleted their savings account or forced them to pick up side gigs at local grocery stores, restaurants, and Target. Now, this is insane. To me, this is insane. Reading this stuff is absolutely obnoxious. How can this be? Like, we have money like we never had before. We have global corporations dominating the market. Millions of, bonuses that are floating around the air. And again, this is not about, but there must be like some sort of degree of equation here where you feel like, okay, of course, who's responsible and charging and leading all this? Christopher Nolan, like allegedly earning $100 million for Oppenheimer, right? So a director gets $100 million to direct a movie. Of course, productionally, he's involved and entrenched, and he gets, bonuses and percentages. He's a very smart businessman. They know exactly what they're doing, and he's very well connected with the producer. But yeah, I mean that if you are not that, the system doesn't necessarily tell you all the time how you can make more, how you can get entrenched, or doesn't offer you that. Like, why isn't it possible to say, of course, if a production company makes way more than expected, that there is a certain, of course there are pension funds and union funds, stuff like that, but again, we're just institutionalizing the money, not directly directing it to it. This is the difference. If a director gets right away, like Christopher Nolan does, $100 million allegedly, right away he can tax that money, use it, and then kind of grow his empire. And on the other hand, to say, but the union workers, the actors, they get it through the compensation and of course through the payoffs that come later. But yeah, by here you're institutionalizing the money flow. There you get it in one package. Here you get it kind of, extended on 20 years, 30 years to come. So that is the difference that I'm talking about. So maybe we have less here and more on the long term, or maybe there is a short-term package of money income, of money fluctuation that gets delivered immediately to the people who are responsible behind the camera as well, and to the actors as well. Because how is it possible that we, produce so much money and at the same time, the people that are relevant to this business, right? Because we see the numbers, we're making billions with certain movies. They have to work at Target. At Target? So when does this stop? Like this continuous crisis situation that is, to me, it looks like a huge alibi, a great excuse, a wonderful apology. Oh, yeah, we have to see this C virus going on. I'm sorry, right? We have to cut your wages and kick you out. Now we have a war going on. Yeah, we have to cut your wages and kick you out. Now we produce less movies because AI is here. And so we have to cut your wages. Yeah, there's always a crisis situation to excuse a cutting. But this is not how it's, this is not a healthy system. If a healthy system can provide for the very production, for the very fundament of that system will implode. Ding dong. Let me know what you think about that, guys. It's insane that we have to read this. Unlike their on-screen counterparts who profit from brand deals and rerun checks, crew members get paid for work and completed during production, period. The Motion Picture and Television Fund, a financial relief fund, reported that of their financial assistance calls, 80% came from crew members. From crew members. So they needed more than anybody else. 80% of the financial relief fund reported that for the financial assistance calls, 80% comes from crew members. As crew unions like Iatse and the Hollywood Basic Crafts Coalition, which makes up 5 smaller entertainment crew unions, gathered at the bargaining table with Hollywood studios this week, the potential of a crew-led strike remains top of mind. It was a difficult summer for what are known as below-the-line members, and despite hesitancy around this, above the line, below the line, and despite hesitancy around a third work stoppage, Teamsters Western Region Vice President Lindsay Doherty told rallygoers Sunday that if Hollywood studios couldn't offer a fair deal, we will shut them down for good. Here's what entertainment crews are pushing for and the potential for another hot labor summer. Before we talk about what they're pushing for, let's just discuss this. The problem is, of course, that if you have the dominating force being the studio, you're always on the short side of the, you never have leverage. So this is a cycle that bites itself into the tail. Because if you strike, no production will be made, there will be delays, more people will get fired, there's more need for assistance and relief funds, which will go again to the crew members. So you need to put more money into that, which will, of course, drain the wages. You have higher taxes, inflation. So the problem remains. If you strike, the problem remains. It shows you for a little bit how much power you have, but then again, you have to sit around a table. And by delaying the production so heavily, there's less money flowing into the market. What I mean by that is very easy, because we have news from Italy, for example, where, let's call him a famous producer, already announced to the Italian production union, to basically the counterpart that we have over here in the United States, that we have to kind of come together as a production union and as a production culture, and to think about to lower the contributor and the fees that we have to pay, and to lower the percentage of own money that we have to put in order to produce American and international productions, because they know that the strike is coming to Hollywood, and Hollywood is not going to stop producing because of some crew members. No, there is, of course, they need to go on with their work. And so what they will do is just, outsource the material into a different land, just rewrite the script, and or sometimes just adapting the script and just shooting it somewhere else. Basically, that's it. So another crew will cover the job. So again, this is what I mean. It's like striking, yeah, in a certain way might help as an outcry, is to get attention. But in the end, like, what do? You invest your energy to be on the street and to, scream towards a company, towards a logos, right? Towards a sign, towards a color. And we know, again, from what we're talking, we are in the connectivity economy. So the more a network becomes, the more it gets attention, the more valuable it becomes. So by striking and screaming one name, you make that thing that you actually want to bring down even more powerful. You're not decreasing its power, you're increasing the power, because the more you say a certain word, the more value it appreciates, because more and more networks will circulate around that word. So you're investing again your energy to make the network stronger and more powerful, which is a dumb move in my opinion, right? You should make the culture stronger, not being on the street and demonstrating give us more money, give us more rights, or give us, on the mercy that somebody then kind of gives you a couple of percent. We read the deal, guys. I walk the walk and talk the talk. We read the deal. It's written in there. If you adjust inflation to what the deal is, the deal in terms of wage increase is a minimum. It's basically nothing. They struck a deal by November that will pay by November, just the remaining year percentage, which is ridiculous, because if you think of 10-12% of inflation, the adjustment of, what is it, 5% in the beginning is basically none, right? You still are drained. And over here with the crew members, you still are drained. You're not getting any, there is no benefit for you here. And they will produce the stuff somewhere else, like they did in the previous strike. So I don't know if the studios are actually not looking forward to this. They're the greatest benefactors out of all these so-called, emergencies that occurred over the last years, right? The so-called, unexpected, inevitable, right, and emergencies that are now, kind of creating this drama, this crisis, right? And in this time of high pressure, of course, it's hard to think, hard to connect the dots, hard to kind of maintain poise and focus. And so people, we were on the picket lines. We are actors as well. I'm not condemning their actions. Of course, they think they do something smart, something that needs to be done, something that is probably also the only measure to kind of vent your frustration. And so the only leverage that you have. So therefore, of course, people go on the street and protest and demonstrate and write also a little bit, right, with their voice and say, hey, this is not okay. But you're actually increasing the value of your opponent. Fact of the matter is, this is true. And you're doing nothing for yourself, because in that moment, you're not creating your own culture. If you're demonstrating against another culture, you're not creating... A culture based on demonstration is not a culture, because demonstration itself, what does it mean? That you demonstrate something, that you show something, show business, connectivity business, connection business, awareness business, acknowledgement industry. Our economy is the economy of recognition and awareness. And so therefore, when we're not creating awareness for ourselves by demonstrating our talent, we're demonstrating against someone else, then we're throwing away our energy. I'm sorry. I don't see any benefit out of this, right? And they stop work, they outsource the work, they produce probably even cheaper in Italy, right? Because this is already, they know exactly the Italian labor, the Italian workforce is way cheaper. The union is even weaker than over here. How can this be prevented, you might ask? Of course, by creating really strong unions that are healthy, by having control mechanisms inside. There are absolutely immaculate, but not disclosing always the names that are taking the decisions, by letting people have their, because the problem is by hiring highly exposed actors, people that are celebrities or majorly known, they think they get leverage inside of the union, but they get also a lot of unrequested attention. For example, in Europe, you have people that are designating for sports games. They have people that are designating, that are kind of conducting the rules of the referees, and they are designated and are putting them in charge of the games. And you have different countries, different aspects of doing that. In Italy, everybody knows who designs, who designates, who conducts, who kind of instructs, and who puts referees in charge. They know them. They are known by name. And so therefore they can also be attacked. They can also be manipulated. They can also be bribed. In England, nobody knows who designates the referees. Nobody. And so therefore, this person is completely anonymous. Can't be attacked, can't be bribed, can't be subverted, can't be somehow. Of course, there is the internal mechanism of the federation that controls if the work is legitimate, but nobody knows that person. It's not a celebrity. So to me, the head of a union needs to be dead, an integral worker, somebody who understands the union rather than being the shiny outpost. Because sometimes that outpost, yes, can have leverage, but on the other hand, is highly attackable. And then, according to Sun Tzu, The Art of War, if everybody knows your generals, of course, that's good if your generals are great and they, enjoy a great reputation. But, by exposing your generals, you're exposing also the strongest, the strongest part of your chain. And that is not always a great strategy. Maybe you want to keep some of your generals secret, so they are not always attackable, and you don't know their tactics and their strategies when you have to face them. Just saying. So the article goes on by saying that, what is it that they're actually negotiating? What are the negotiations about? The Iatse, the Hollywood Teamsters, whose members include animal trainers, wranglers, couriers, drivers, and other Hollywood basic crafts unions, began negotiations Monday on their shared motion picture industry pension and health plans, marking the first joint negotiation on retirement and health benefits since 1988. That goes also to saying, really quick, what do we know about industry pension and health plans? Again, Christopher Nolan gets immediately $100 million, whether that's like through percentages or revenue streams, also through, the theatrical, box office, whatever, but he gets them right away. Crew members, they get their money in an industry and pension and health plan, and that is based on a fund that, of course, we know what sometimes happens with these funds, with these health plans and industry pension plans and all that, right? First of all, I say inflation over 20 years, the money is just not worth it anymore. If we continue printing like this, money is not going to be worth anything in 5 years from now, Don't even think about 20 years. And, look, when that was adjusted the last time, 1988. They aim to secure additional funding from streamers for the plans, like it says in the article, because for the plans increase retirement accrual rates and prevent health coverage cuts. Crew unions do not receive residuals or payment for reruns like actors do. That's true. Instead, residuals fund those benefits. Yes, but again, if an actor receives a residual, his residual check, which, for us Hollywood actors, it means lifeline. I translated, right? A residual check for like a non-famous actor in Hollywood, or, but even for famous actors, believe me, sometimes our residual checks are our lifeline, right? And so here they get, again, transformed and emulated in this fund, which I don't know if that's completely fair, if that couldn't be subdivided or just kind of released as an immediate package instead of a long-term package. That can also be maybe sometimes at its own discretion, right? If somebody thinks, hey, I got good money right now, I want to save this stuff, I want to put it in a fund and let it work, right? But then again, my personal taste would be, hey, give me the money right now, I invest it. Because if you guys invested, it's going to be destroyed by inflation, recession, or any bank crash or something coming up, right? And I want to invest my money myself in a secure way, so I know it will appreciate value and it will give me like a secure, small or big or medium-sized side income stream. So our folks understand the business they're in, the sacrifices and precarious nature of employment, and they work within that environment anyway. Iatse International President Matthew Lowe wrote in a Monday statement to union members. But there's no reason these companies can't build in more protection, for sure, reliability and predictability that creates more security. Absolutely, right? I mean, let's say how this plays out, how much he will stand to those words. You know, words are words. Never listen to what a politician says, you know, observe his actions, right? This is way more important. So yeah, it sounds great. Absolutely. From what I read here, there's no objection. Absolutely. I mean, we understand, even as actors, this is not a reliable business. Look at us, right? We're gypsies. We're free-spirited, crazy minds, crazy spirits. We're here to explore, and money is not our first prerogative, okay? So we know it's sometimes not reliable and not secure all the times, and predicting if jobs come or if job goes, you know, it ain't easy. Sometimes we literally had just, how many times has it happened to you as an actor? It's like, yeah, you got the job, babe. That's all good. It's all sealed. It's all wrapped up. It's all in it. And then, you know, something happens a couple of days before principal photography starts, and you're out of a job for some strange reason. And you've already kind of, you know, of course, thought about the income, the money that, and kind of already kind of made your plans. And then everything is explodes in front of your eyes, right in your face. So we know that this job is unpredictable, but that doesn't mean that the studios that need us, right, crew members, and again, I see myself as a crew member as well, not only as an actor, that need the crew members, because again, and this is so, I mean, it should be so much common sense what I'm about to say. Like, I was on a Ridley Scott set. Ridley is an amazing human being. I loved working with him. He's absolutely incredible. Elegant, smooth, very knowledgeable, great taste, great. He has panache, he has charm, he has elegance, he has tact, right? Talking with him is a pleasure, right? Because he's educated, he's a maestro. Ridley Scott is a maestro. But it's not just him being a maestro, a wonderful and impeccable, great director, one of the best of all time. I mean, Blade Runner, come on, you know, Alien, you know, what else? What else can we say, right? But also his crew. You can tell that he's so good because of his crew. And his crew is so good because of him. It's a symbiotic existence, right? The magic happens there, and like our makeup department, Huff and Puff, great, funny people, pictures everywhere. Like, in their trailer, this is like the 20th year we're working together and whatnot. Sound department, great guys. Photography department, incredible people. It's on a Ridley Scott set, everybody breathes the same air, and lives the same culture. Sorry for that. It's an incredible vibe. Right? Because they're all in this together, right? Crew, directing, talent, on craft, off craft, everybody is woven in perfectly. And that makes such a difference. And you can tell his movies are still kind of relevant and still good. Not all of them are as great as they used to be. Of course, that also is, depending on story, actors, and also it's a movie's always, a child of its time. So therefore it's okay, right? But you can tell his movies are great because of his crew. So if you have a great crew that is in a great mood, that feels the purpose, that is on a mission, that works harmoniously together, that is working organically as one unit. That's why there are unit managers, unit members, right? We are units. And if we work as units, we create great entertainment, everlasting stuff. So, and that's why this is so important. Like, crew members are not just, this is the soul. This is what we breathe as actors. This is the resonance that we get. This is the vibration that we feel, right? How is this set? It's the crew. It's the people. Why is Miami so special? Because of the people. Why is New York so special? Because of the people. Why is LA so special? Because of the weather. No, it's the people. The people make the town. The people make the culture. the conversations they have. And when you have, and I've been also on unhealthy sets, on toxic sets where people hated each other, where the culture was destructive, where the money was very, and the hours were long, the money was little, the purpose wasn't there, and the drive couldn't be delivered, and the director was more of a manipulator rather than a contributor. It's like in a great kitchen, right? I'm coming also from the hospitality and restaurant business. I owned a wine store with my mom for 15 years in a restaurant. And so therefore, you can tell when you go into the kitchen if your chef is a manipulator or a contributor. And this is a great director as well. And this is how a brigade, in the kitchen works as well. You can make the one-to-one translation to a great crew, to a great unit, to great crew members, to a great union that leads them strongly and gives them purpose and weaves them together into a culture that functions. So, of course, we understand the business that we're in, but we need security in order to function. Members have also pushed for increased inflation-adjusted wages, right? Because by, of course, lying publicly and openly about what the inflation numbers are, of course, the production companies have a great excuse of not adjusting to inflation that, even the government doesn't seem to see, right? So therefore, why should I see it? But the inflation is there, ladies and gentlemen. It's not lying. Of course, this is maybe a harsh term. It's manipulating the numbers, right? It's manipulating the stats, looking at certain stats and neglecting other stats, not taking in the whole picture, not kind of compensating the information. And yes, you can look just at one part of the economy and say, oh, and look at it, it's so great, right? And you push 80% of the economy away and say, we're not looking at that, right? Unfunny business. And I'm sorry, this is just how it is. I'm not for any party. I've never voted, elected, selected, chose anything, right? Because I don't believe in politics. The term itself says polis. It's just a polarized, it's just a fraction, right? It won't work holistically. So I don't really believe that. I believe in culture and coaching people and teaching people. And so politics is not my thing, definitely. So I'm not advocating for any color, party or anything, animal, whatever. I'm advocating for common sense, for decency and for tact, for having brilliancy in the occupation, delegation, and also in the compensation. Period. So members have also pushed for increased inflation-adjusted wages, right? Updates to overtime pay, staffing minimums, and additional safety protocols. Following the accidental shooting death of Rust cinematographer and a crew member's fatal fall while working on the set for Marvel's Wonder Man last month, workers have heightened concerns around general safety. The Washington Post released a documentary last March, quite on set, and spoke with union crew members who alleged 18-hour days had led to dangerous accidents, along with sexism and racism off-screen. Vanessa Holtgrew, I believe, and Iatse Assistant Department Director, wrote she hopes they can readdress these long workdays at the bargaining table, for sure. Yes, the hours are insane. It's too much, and it's very stressful. The business has become very stressful, and the hours are insane. And again, there is no compensation culture in place. I personally, I don't mind sometimes working 18 hours on set. Again, I love being on set. I know that sounds crazy, 18 hours. Sometimes it's necessary. I wouldn't want that to be normality, like every day 18 hours for I don't know how long. Of course, I don't want that. I want private life as well. But sometimes I don't mind long hours, because if it's necessary to express the scene, to kind of, to call it a day, all right, I'm all for it. I'm all in it till the last drop of sweat and passion. But you have to make sure that there is a compensation culture in place happening, right? Whether it's food, great catering, just people taking care of you, kind of pampering you a little bit, money compensation, that it feels right, that you're not just milked, but also kind of fed and milked, right? If you milk me, feed me, right? In all ways possible. That sounded a bit strange, I know, but it's just how it is, right? And this is not always happening. Plus, on a of course, more serious note, if people die on set because of security neglections, because of safety procedures that are flawed, because of people who are in charge that shouldn't be in charge, because they're just the cheap hire and not really the experienced one. If things are going offhand, because you need to improvise, because you don't have enough staff, enough crews, enough members of the crew. And then you have to kind of delegate more occupations to single people that are kind of overwhelmed with the work, with the responsibility, or with the overseeing of all the procedures, and stuff like people dying happening, right? This is not the first time on set. Then we should all pause. A movie isn't worth a life. It can inspire millions of lives, right? It can inspire, millions of people. It can touch their hearts and, give them something to think about. But it shouldn't kill a person in order to achieve that, because then it's something very sinister, right? We should respect life, security, health of everyone. If you harm someone in the production for something that should give joy to someone else, like, how is this supposed to give joy or entertainment to someone when someone died in the process of making this? Because of flawed procedures, of insecurity, and of hasty processes, when in a field where there shouldn't be any hasty processes, right? This is not the first time. We think about Brandon Lee during The Crow, other movies where blank bullets all of a sudden became sharp and kind of killed people or injured people seriously. Resident Evil, people died. As far as I can remember, someone lost, members, like an arm, and just crazy stuff happens. Safety first. But of course, you can't really promise safety if everything needs to be fast. And everything needs to first save money before saving human lives, right? Before that prerogative doesn't change, if you don't kind of turn over that switch, stuff like this will still happen in the future. And this is very concerning. I don't want to see a movie where somebody died for in terms of natural death, of course, but the passion of this, that's something else. But because the safety was not in place for producing it, that, of course, is an absolute freaking no-go, right? It's insane. Really quick, before we end this video, I want to share, what we have as a viewership here of the Oscars. Not because, again, it's not about, it's just to kind of take this into account as well. I hope this strike will not happen the way it is announced to be, because if, then it's going to be another major blow, right? It's going to be another opportunity missed. It's going to be another it's going to be another chance for other people to say, hey, it's over, let's invest in something else. And they are just looking for that, an excuse to cut money instead of giving money, expand the business, and create new industries. Because we have a bigger and bigger getting demand, but somehow paradoxically, the people that could create the fulfillment of that demand, the product that the people want to see, they get not hired, right? So what are we missing here? It's of course AI taking over a lot of jobs, but it's not only that, it's the whole industry, the whole monetary system. It's, I think, in somehow it's all connected. It's not I don't think that's somehow a coincidence that since the C virus started, everything kind of went down in terms of numbers, right? Everything went down in terms of production. And we know it's not what they sold us it would be, right? And especially crew members were, highly affected by that, because they cut on crew members and my production as well. When I was still shooting and we had the C virus going on, of course they cut massively on crews. And this is what I told them what this would be in the first place anyways, because getting into our work and law procedure and kind of messing up with our privileges and taking away certain privileges from the workers would definitely also result in having a perfect excuse to now have a so-called emergency to get rid of a lot of crew. And yes, given credit where it's due, there are definitely productions where we have too many crew members. I know that. Yeah, there are productions that are just overwhelmingly big for no reason. And this makes production expensive and ineffective, and therefore it kind of reflects in the quality of the movie, and therefore it's not good for the industry, because usually these movies are heavy, too long, because you want to include the pictures that you paid for, and therefore they kind of lose the drive and the quality lacks because it's more institutionalized like anything. So since we institutionalized, the numbers are going down. Now we have a slight uptrend, right? Coming out of that incredible valley. 2020, it hit its all-time low. But still, the last Oscars were the 4th lowest in terms of ranking, right? It's like a couple of percentages, maybe like 4% roughly more than 2023, where we had 18.8. The 2022, we had 1662. And 2021 was at the lowest point, right? We had 10.4 in terms of rating, which is abysmal, right? Which was like, and still, Hollywood is continuing in producing movies that are not interested, not the audience not really interested in. That's, one of the biggest problems. Because back then, I always say this, right? I have a video where we talk about the movies, the 90s. I feel movie making has stopped by the end of the 90s. I always say this. Because everything that came out by the year 2000 onward was just horrible. It's like horrible stuff. The 90s, every year of the 90s had at least 10 movies that were grandiose, like excellent blockbuster movies, like at least 10 every year. Like check the 90s, like check our video on our YouTube channel. You will find at least 10 movies every year of the 90s, of that beautiful decade of movie making where you felt like, yeah, these are great movies. Now, if you can tell me 10 great movies from the year 2000 to now, which is 2.5 decades, in 24 years, I couldn't tell you 10 movies that to me have that type of level of quality, like they had in the 90s. Okay, Matrix is on the boundary from 99 to 2000. Matrix probably being one of the last like groundbreaking, earth-shattering, like interesting movies. So from 2000 till 2024, 99% of the stuff that came out of Hollywood was whether a remake, a cover, a reboot, a reprint, a rehash, a imagining. It was a since reimagining. It was a For 24 years now, we have seen Reese all over the place, and we're sick of it. We remaking constantly movies that are based on way older source material instead of inventing new stuff, original stuff, immaculate stuff, right? Nowadays Hollywood is institutionalized. That's the problem, and we see that also reflecting in the viewership. That's we had 46 by the year 2000 when we came out of the 90s. Everything was still how it was supposed to be. Music was relevant and great. Fashion was interesting. Movies were great. Comic books had still like great quality, like everything. And this is reflected in the Oscars. The Oscars were relevant. And we are living in a connectivity economy again, where everything is revolved around awareness. Look at the awareness Hollywood has now. The movies are producing now. 19.5%, fourth lowest rating in history. And yes, you can say, well, that's a trend. This is going up. Look at this, right? 19.5. It's definitely since 2021. It's definitely going up. I mean, look at this, right? These are not bad numbers. Let's insist, right? Maybe this is coming up. Yeah, it's coming up very slowly, first of all. Okay, 10% from 2021 to 2024 is not bad. It's like 3% progress on average every year. That's okay. But we came down from 46, 33. We're less than half away 24 years later. We gave away more than half of the market to digital streaming products, to YouTube, to all the other outlets, Twitch, Rumble, Kick, all this other stuff, for sure, to the Eastern outlets and service, and to social media, of course, yes, but not necessarily just that. It's the quality of the product that drives the market, that drives the relevance. If you have a relevance because the quality is great, you get relevant, you get reliable, you get relatable, and therefore you get more attention and you make more money. Everybody is good. If you have bad products, low quality, and you just and therefore everybody knows already what's coming, and therefore there's no surprise, no invention, no novelty, nothing crisp and exciting. I won't watch it anymore, right? Because I know what's going on anyways. And nowadays the blueprint is even clear. We discussed this on Saturday Night Hypnosis. We discussed this on the other channels as well, on Gooch's channel, on Diabolical Souls. We talked about this. On the Canali Sasquatch channel, we talked about this. Like, we're having this conversation all the time, right? Where we know exactly what they're gonna do to the protagonists, to the lead characters, to the male characters, to the white characters. Like, it's already a written statement. It's a bit boring now, right? Of course, it's not even infuriating anymore. It's like, okay, so you want to change the canon, the IPs, the core subject, the core product again, and kind of like reimagining it according to your agenda that in a couple of years is going to be useless, right? Because it's just a trend, it's just a fashion, it's just a style, a child of its time, and it's going to go away. And then what you're going to do to call them back, right? And let me say, I mean, the movies of the Oscars, it's just, where's the glamour? Where's the shine? Where's the brightness? Where's the beauty of the Oscars? They tried to be less political this year. And that girl Casey kind of tells you why they weren't so political this year. You want to check out her channel. She tells you all about it. But I have my own opinion why this is. They've been so quiet, or they tried to be so quiet, right, on politics this year. It's not only because they know that we don't like it. It's also because right now it's not convenient to talk about politics because of other reasons. And so I believe it was left out, and that already was a benefit. You could see definitely that the ratings were better this year. 19.5 definitely means, okay, they appreciated more that you left out politics. But still, where's the show? Like, to me, coming from outside of the US, I can tell you, in Europe, America, Hollywood, the Oscars is a musical piece, right? It's La La Land. It's Diamonds Are the Girl's Best Friend in Chicago. It's 42nd Street. It's that, right? I think the most important product that America ever brought, like, of course, motion pictures, yes, but the musical piece is really something that comes from here. That's the culture here, to unite drama and sound together, right? To music and drama together combine, or humor and music combine, and giving it the context of dancing it out or bringing it out. That's a wonderful combination. And we see how great it works also in Bollywood, right? And for a lot of Europeans and a lot of, culture innovators, like, this is what the Oscar night always stood for. Those musical pieces, those great limelight pieces, tap dance, great choreography, immaculate presentation, wonderful makeup. It was just glamorous. It was from another world. It seemed like from planet Venus, right? They kind of immigrating to this place and then departing a couple of seconds later. That was just that flash that was always kind of making the Oscar nights a special night that was completely wiped out of the program, because some might think that's sexist or whatnot, and now Ryan Gosling does it and everybody applauds. So that glamour is missing. The show is missing. The humor is missing. The beauty is missing, and also the movies. You can't compare the movies from today with the movies from the 90s, guys, or from the 80s, or from the 70s, for what it's worth. I'm sorry. I saw all of them. Like, Poor Things is like, I don't know what that even is. What kind of movie is that? I mean, why is she doing that? It's like, so many interesting ideas about Poor Things and where it could have led to, and yet what we see is blood and sex, and in a morbid, ultra exposed, unnecessarily blown up way, where it's totally just disgusting and just too much and just unnecessary. I'm not saying sex shouldn't be in a movie, but used in an effective way, in a smart way, and not overused and inflationary, and also with this obsessive, strange behavior and this strange lust for blood and all genitals and all vomiting and all that. What kind of movie is that? Is this the sexual desperate fantasy of of a Nosferatu Emily? Right. This is I think this is the demonic aspect of the fabulous world of Emily. Right. You could have solved so many things in Poor Things in such an elegant and weird and quirky way without exposing Emma Stone to all this, really disgusting movie. It starts interesting, and then it kind of, and of course we have, it's. Please watch it. Make up your own mind what you think of that piece. And I'm just saying poor things now. I could say Oppenheimer. It's a good movie, but it's, back in the 90s, it would have been like one of the good movies of the year, not the best movie of the year. It's definitely not the best movie of the year, but it's the only movie of the year, so it gets the best movie of the year award. But that's just to say that this is an exclusion award. It's not an inclusion award, it's an exclusion award. So excluded everything else that was garbage. The only thing that was kind of left that was decent, besides Top Gun Maverick, that should have won the best for Best Picture. Hey. A che ora? Oh, okay. Okay. Everything else was, that movie was just slow and kind of boring and, too long. No emotional. It's just, what kind of movie is that again? We have to come back to stories that are original, enticing, that have the right length, the right spirit, the right gesture, the right decency, the right tact, the right rhythm. Everything is out of sync. Everything is toppled. Everything is upside down. We have lost our value compass, it seems. But hey, if I go to YouTube, if I hang out with my boys, if I see how many great creators also in those independent movie filmmaking, pockets and festivals, short movie festivals, I see that there is a wave of great creative minds coming back to the business. And Hollywood being weakened, as sorry as I am for the workforce and for the many friends and for myself as well, right? As much I will also look forward to the new wave of culture that's coming again more from the underground, like the financial system, like blockchain technology is disrupting the industry because it's not coming from the institutions. And the new movie industry will not come from the institutions as well. I think a lot of new content, a lot of new great stuff will come down from the basement and will go up to the top, to the penthouse. And then, of course, party too much, abuse too much, and kind of fall down back to the ground and rebuild itself and reshape itself. Because, hey, it's all the oscillation of life. It's all the oscillation of creativity. And I'm looking forward to kind of be a witness with the creative community, with the chat, with all the people that I'm connected with to witness this evolvement, this movement and this evolution, and to be, a reporter of this and to try also to be a contributor and not just a manipulator. So therefore, thank you so much, guys, for sticking till the end, for stopping by. This is another take of me to the current Hollywood situation after being on the picket lines, after, looking into the contract that was, kind of stipulated between the networks and SAG-AFTRA on White's channel. This is like another piece of that type of observation. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of this, what you think is going to happen if we will go to strike and what that means, or if we're going to save it this time, if we will give them finally the acknowledgement, the crew members, the staff, everybody else needs and deserves and rightfully expects also to receive, or if this will be just another brick in the wall. And so we come through now and we will create and we will take over this industry and not beg for mercy anymore, but be finally the major contributor of this cultural echo chamber, right? Thank you so much, guys. Also, be there on Saturday where it's the free masterclass happening again, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to network, time to Q&A, time to learn something new. Stop by. It's going to be a great event. Catch me also Saturday night. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Hypnotic Channel for the Saturday Night Hypnosis group therapy session. See you next Tuesday with the Battle of Troy with my man Dragon Slayer commentaries on our channel for Open Class Doodles, episode 20, Battle of Troy, the ultimate, the only, the great Battle of Troy. And now I believe you're ready to perform. Yes, I truly believe that. No, for sure. You're ready to perform.